Hi guys, welcome to episode 12 of the BFS Fan Page Rampage. I almost forgot the name of this podcast now because I do so many. I'm Daniel Cotton from Twitter. This is Jarrett.
How's it going? I love that you do as many podcasts as I do now. How many podcasts do you have? 12?
Jesus Christ, I don't know. It's how many are you on?
I'm on 3, and this is one of them.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'm about to match that.
Yeah. You starting a new one?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Did you not hear what I said?
We'll get there.
We have a wacky connection.
Yeah, no, I did. You are cutting out a little bit, but I did hear what you said.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're doing fine. Your connection is good. On the other hand, it's been so long since we've done one of these, I forgot how we connect. So, I thought we were FaceTiming, but we're Skyping.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't FaceTime me because that would have come through to my mobile phone and I would have had an anxiety attack and we wouldn't have talked today. That's what would have happened. I'd have been like, why is he ringing me on the phone?
Oh my God. Who the hell? What could it possibly be? I'm off the tour.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. There's a tour coming up. You should tell us about what's the latest with Bowling for Soup.
Absolutely, man. I'm so excited about this tour. A little history. We, on our very first, so we came over for the first time. Uncle Brian took us around. We came over the next time. We opened up for Sponge. And then the third time we came over, we were doing, that was with, what was the name of that band? They were named after an American cowboy, Jesse James. That was our first headlining tour. Our second headlining tour, 2003, was big places already, and we had just recently met Simple Plan. We brought those guys over there. So yeah, man, it's cool to be. It just timed out really great here that we were able to ask them to come back over there with us. They got new stuff coming out they're working on, and it timed out great. So very excited to be coming back to the UK. 6 big shows with Simple Plan, Not Your Girlfriends, coming over. And then that's kind of what's going on now. I mean, lots of new music. We still have another cover coming out very soon. We have a new single coming out that I actually can't talk about, but it's going to surprise everybody. And then next week, we will have an announcement as far as something that people have been asking for a few years. So there is a lot of shit happening in 2020, and there's just the timing of this particular podcast. If you're listening to this, and I will get this out this week, Daniel, I promise. If somebody is hearing this, pay attention. Going to be a lot of stuff happening in a very quick little bit.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about BFS in the news, and we'll probably touch on some topics that you can't talk more about. But firstly, Sunstroke Festival in Ireland is returning after 25 years. You guys have been announced at that. What's the deal with that? How did that come about?
Very excited about that. That one kind of came out as we were very surprised to get that offer. Very excited to be returning to Ireland. We've only done, I think, 1 festival, maybe 2. Over there, so and I actually, you're actually informing me. I didn't realize that it had been gone for so long. So, very.
Well, I've never heard of it before because that's also how old I am. So
yeah,
I just found out from the news.
Very cool. No, I'm excited to be doing that, and then hopefully we can add some shows around that. Who knows? I mean, right now, I guess we're kind of just focused on, as far as touring, just getting to this UK tour, and then. Picking up there.
Next thing in the news is the release of A Nice Night for an Evening, Volumes 1 and 2. Got some great reviews in for that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
How that came about?
For sure. I'd had this idea of doing the songs like piano music for a really long time. And it just so happened to have become really good friends with an amazing piano player. His name's Scott Simons. He works on America's Got Talent over here and Little Big Shots. And he's got a band called Teammate. And he just has an awesome story. We've become very close. He's also a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so we try to go see a game once a year. And anyway, I was just like, what do you think about doing this? Well, playing these songs. I sent him a list of songs, and so basically I just hired him to record them, and they came out so great. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's just do another round. Now, this has been like 3 years ago that we did this, and in fact, I think some of the hardcore fans will remember, I guess it was 2 years ago, I gave 3 of the songs away as a Christmas present to the fan page. And honestly, what kept happening is it just kind of kept getting pushed back. It was just like, no, we don't need to do this. We don't need to do this. And in this 3 years since we've done that, the world has changed so much in that when I first had him do it and I decided I wanted to release it, everybody's, oh no, we need the time to set it up. Management wants the time to set it up. Our distributors want time to set it up. And we've just come to a point in the world where you don't need that anymore. Now everything is instant. And so we were on our last tour here in America, and I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to make an advert for this, and I'm going to get a guy to voice over. I'm going to make a commercial, and I'm just going to force the issue and send out the masters. And so I just sent it all to my publicist. I had it all remastered. It had been mastered 2 years ago, but I had it all remastered again and sent that to my people. I was just like, look, I want this out. And it was really cool because it was not what I expected. They were like, yeah, let's get it out before Christmas. And so, yeah, Nice Night for an Evening Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's, something that I just always thought would be really cool to have, where you can listen to Bowling for Soup songs at your wedding or in the nursery or at work or in the car with your kids or whatever. And
I played them at Christmas dinner.
Yeah, I actually like listening to it because sometimes it takes me a minute to figure out what the song is. Like, and recently Rob walked down the aisle, or at least it was playing for his wedding as everybody sat down, and it's just one of those things where it came out perfectly. I wish I could have gotten it out sooner, but I think it timed out really great, and happy that it's out there in the world now. Very and again, you're right. The response has been amazing, and it's cool because it's one of those things where it seems like every other day I get a message from somebody who's just like, how did I not know that this is in the world? And I'm just like, I don't know. I fucking spread it around as fast as I can.
Just for any UK listeners, the thing you'll know Scott Simons for most is the Paw Patrol theme tune. So
yeah,
you owe that guy a thank you for every terrible morning you've had with your kids' TV.
Right. Yeah. Funny thing about him is he's kind of in the crew that there was a time when I was on Phineas and Ferb and doing Chucky at the same time. And so you would turn on your television in the morning and it would be, in just a span of time, Scott would be there with Paw Patrol. I would be on there with Phineas and Ferb or Chuck E. Cheese, which is a restaurant for those yucky UK people that don't know. And then Perry Grip, who is another good friend of ours, would be on there with some crazy cartoon that he was doing. And then Linus of Hollywood, who's my best friend, would be on there doing some Barbie commercial or whatever. So it's like the four of us just owning children's television for quite some time and, ruling at it.
Man, I mean, this is starting to sound a little bit like Hollywood, just four guys running everything.
Yeah, well, I stay the fuck away from there unless I have to.
You need to be careful in like 25, 30 years, okay? Because bad stuff comes from that.
Yeah.
The final thing in the news was the Alexa Bliss guest star in the Bowling for Soup video, which presumably you can't tell us much about right now, but is there anything to say on that?
All I can say is that Lexi and I have become good friends, and she is involved in a song that we've got coming out. I am very excited about it, and that is all I can say, really. I think really she's in the video, and there's a song, and that's all I can say. But I will say this, for those of you who are fans of either her or us, you do not have to wait long, and I will stop right there in what I'm saying about it because I think the surprise is going to be well worth it.
Good. Well, we'll move quickly on then. This day in Bowling for Soup history is actually from the 9th of January, which is when initially we were going to be recording this, and then I considered having one for each day of that we one for every day we should have recorded this podcast. You remember when you did that acoustic album, the acoustic album that almost never was?
Yeah.
Do you think you could just put the almost never was after every single project you do?
Oh man, that hurts. You know what? I'm getting better about that kind of shit, and I've really done good at prioritizing lately. I've stopped doing certain things in my career that just ate up time, whether it was just something that I was doing because I enjoyed it or something, whatever it was. But I am trying to get better. Moving this one, though, would really help me out. So I do appreciate your patience, Daniel.
I'm just screwing with you. So the 9th of January, just 2019, High School Never Ends was in the show Schooled, which obviously you and Kelly also did the theme tune for.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about how that came about?
Yeah. It's really cool who you meet when you create things, and you've been doing it for a really long time, and you sometimes wonder if I don't know. I don't really know where I was headed with that. It's just really cool when someone comes out of the woodwork and they're a huge fan. And so you kind of go back to when there's a show called, what is it? The I'm just drawing a blank right now. Goldbergs. I'm sorry. I was drawing a blank because I was thinking about Anthony Michael Hall. So the Goldbergs came out, and it's just such a small world. The Haley Orantia, who plays, I don't know her name on the show, but she used to babysit my kids. She's from here. And turns out the guy who created that show, Adam Goldberg, was a huge Bowling for Soup fan and has been a supporter of ours for a very long time. And in a big way, he has, I believe it's songs people actually liked. He did the executive producer thing. So he was the executive producer of that. So fast forward to him coming up with a spinoff show, and basically, I won't name specifics, but he essentially hit me up, and I was with Kelly, and he goes, "Hey, we have this spinoff show. We have to have a theme song in 6 days, and this artist, this artist, and this artist, and this artist they're all going for it. You guys want to pitch something?" And so we pitched 14 songs. We pitched 15 14-second songs, which means we have 14 left. So hopefully at some point, on a different topic, at some point, Kelly and I will release 14 14-second songs about something. And that's a whole nother idea. But yeah, and we got it. And so it's been awesome, and the show's doing great, and that's very exciting. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Daniel. If I did not know that High School Never Ends was in the show, I had no idea.
Well, whoever was running your social media at the time knew, because it was on Facebook. So
that's really cool.
That's where I read it. So
that's really cool. No, so the cool so to back up a little bit, High School Never Ends was on the original campaign for them to advertise the show. But they are I believe they're a branch of Disney. Yeah, it's ABC, right? So they're a branch of Disney. They have to own everything outright. So we essentially had to give them the song. Of course, we will make the royalties off of it. But obviously, they couldn't own High School Never Ends. So he was really cool about it. He was like, in a perfect world, I'd have High School Never Ends, but we can't use that, obviously. But it's great that they've managed to work it into the show, and they used it for that, and very cool. It's been super awesome all the way around, and can't say enough good things about Adam Goldberg, who gave me and Kelly the shot, and Lewis also, Kelly's husband, and from the Dolly Rots, for helping in that whole thing, because we were churning them out so fast. I mean, in 6 days, again, we wrote 15 14-second theme songs. In and around everything else we both had going at the same time. So, but we did it.
Awesome. Just one thing on that Adam Goldberg, if you aren't familiar, is not the same Adam Goldberg who plays the guy who loves to dehydrate fruit on Friends, because he is also called Adam Goldberg, different guy.
Did not know that.
There you go. Now you do. Next segment is Bowling for Soup on camera, and the fan page this time around voted to hear about the turbulence video.
Oh wow, cool video. Turbulence, and it's timely as well. At the time, I had a company with my friend Heath Balderson, who started out as a fan, who became a friend, and is a video guy from up in Wichita, Kansas. And he and I had started a company called Built by Ninjas and done a few videos for various things. We did an MC Lars video that I'm still really proud of, called 23. And so, this was the first album after being on Jive. This is the first record where we were making stuff on our own, and it was weird. It's not something that we had ever done for 9 years. And in the time that we were making real videos, Jive, I got to write the treatments or take the ideas, Chris's ideas or whatever, and make them into whatever video we wanted. And they just made it happen, and we got directors and all that. Well, found myself in a situation where we didn't have that. And so Built by Ninjas had started up to make some videos. And, I had the idea of like, man, what if we could actually shoot this on a real airplane? And, the good thing about being in a town like Dallas and being here for so long is just I'm able to find people and things. And so I was able to get that airplane. I got that. We paid, I think we paid $750 for that airplane, and we got it the whole day with the air conditioning running, which is great. Now, this story actually goes back into the previous story, Daniel. This is an interesting tie-in before I continue on. The car I'm driving in Turbulence was Haley Orantia's car. So that
holy shit.
Yeah, she lived right down the street and babysat my kids, and that was her first car. So loved it, and it was great. So Haley let us use the car in the video, and then that's my neighbor's son, and then his mom plays the flight attendant. Another really interesting story about it is my daughter got sick. And that morning woke up not feeling well. So she's in the video as the little girl with the little doll, but it's not planned. The only reason she's in there, I didn't have plans to have kids in it. It's just she was homesick. But my in-laws are in there from my previous marriage. A few fans, a few friends came and did it. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who else is in it. I think Jake Mai's in it. I think a musician who's great, Jimmy Wilkerson, Paul Gonzalez, a few just, again, friends and fan friends came. And now I will tell you, there's a couple of other good stories. One of the stories is that we were already shooting it. We were like halfway done in the airplane part. And so we had assigned seats, and we're going through and we're shooting it back. So, if you think about when something is shot, you can't change. Like, you can't change people or where they are or who's in there. Well, we had these two women on the plane, and one of them, about halfway through the shoot of the airplane, got diarrhea, and they had to fucking leave. And, like, we literally had to work around that and shoot around it. And it was bizarre. It really was. It was fucking weird. To just because it was like it's something that I had never had to deal with, before. Where it's just like, okay, it's you sure you can't just like take a pill and hang? But they couldn't.
That's the most Bowling for Soup story in the world. That you were independent for the first time, just been dropped from your label, and you go, let's buy a fucking plane.
Yeah.
And you managed to do that with absolutely no issues, and then diarrhea.
Yeah. Just fucking fucks it up. Yeah. We got the airplane with had absolutely no it was no problem. That is a small airport where we're filming, that we got full access to it. When I'm just driving around, all of that is just around my house that I had before the one here. And so that house sits way west. And so it away from my actual neighborhood is all those places where there's just trees and bigger houses and things like that. So, a couple of other things. When when Chris stops to help me with the car broken down in the video, cars just kept, it's Texas. Everybody's so nice. So cars just kept stopping to ask if they could help. We'd have to cut. No, we're good. So finally we had to put Heath like way back behind just to tell cars to keep going. No, we're all good. Keep going. So when we did the part where Gary's got the flat tire and I stop and help, we went way out where we knew there wouldn't be any cars to keep interrupting that thing. And then that store where Eric is an old, it's at an old turn, used to be a highway. It's real famous around here. It's an old feed store and stuff like that. But very fun video to make. Again, cool to do it on our own and literally on our own. And so again, the reason why I said timely, Heath and I have been talking again, and it looks like we may try and do some more stuff, some more Built by Ninja stuff in the coming months. So I know a lot of people were following what we were doing there for a while. So if you may see it heat back up before you know. But yeah, that was a really fun video to make.
That's really cool. I'm just going to open a beer, and the next segment is the story behind the song, and I've just texted you a link to the lyrics of the song.
Oh, what a good boy you are. All right, so the song is Star Song.
Yeah, so the fan page this time have voted to hear the story behind Star Song, and if you're listening and you don't understand what's happening there, go and join the Bowling for Soup fan page and look out for when I post and ask what song you want to hear about. That's how this podcast works.
There you go. Fan page is on Facebook. You just go there, you get approved, you don't be a dick, and you have a lot of fun. It's a very cool group of like-minded, supportive, just nice people. And whether you're a huge fan of Bowling for Soup or whatever, it's just a cool place to hang out. Star Song, so we had gone and recorded Drunk Enough to Dance. It was out. Girl the Bad Guys Want was a hit. We had sold a lot of albums. I think it was around 300 and something thousand records. And I mean, that was good for us. And I had the president of the label call me, and I think I've told this story before, maybe on this podcast, but basically what they wanted to do was re-release the record. They wanted to basically strip more songs onto it and do a completely new release. And man, I really didn't want to do it. At the time, people were still buying albums, and in order to get songs that were stripped onto a record, you'd have to steal them, and it was just a really complicated time in that they wanted to do it to expose us to new people and do this new release, and I didn't want to do it because I didn't want people to feel like they had to buy the record again just to get these songs. At the end of the day, they won out. Very few times did I give in, but I did give in, and maybe it's for the best. I mean, that's where Punk Rock 101 came from, our cover of I Ran, which the band aren't really crazy about, but we do know that fans dig it quite a bit. But also Star Song. So Butch Walker, we went in to do this with him, who had produced that record and he and I wrote Girl the Bad Guys Want and something else on that record. Last Call Casualty? Is that on there? Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's on there. And so I took Star Song with me, and we finished Punk Rock 101, and I showed him this, and we finished this. That's how it got to. But for me, it was kind of the beginnings of people starting to tell me that my music was, or that our music was helping them. That that they, it was more and more that I had people coming up going, hey, I went through a really rough time and your stuff has really helped me. Or, I don't get along with my parents, but we both like your band. And, there was an openness that was happening to me that I had never felt before, and never, and maybe it's just access too, that was, there was more stuff happening online and people could find you easier and that. So, I wanted to write a song about that, about how, it's okay to be different. It's okay to that you don't have all the friends in the world, every single year of your life. That's just not how it works. And, being popular isn't necessarily the best thing in the world, because you're you and you're great. And so yeah, I wanted to put a song out there to communicate to those people, those kids, really young people mostly at that time, and obviously that's changed. It's a very wide range these days of people who get something out of the songs that I write that puts them in a better place or helps them get through the day sometimes. And so I have heard that a lot about this song since then. So obviously to me, it feels like it's done its job. But so going through it lyrically, I tried to make it seem like she had her vagina pierced. When you got your tongue pierced once, can't show anyone unless it's under covers. I was going for a vagina there, but I guess you could take it as a nipple as well. But I was going. But then the whole idea was, I remember even me to an extent, like I used to be embarrassed sometimes for getting really good grades because my friends didn't give a shit about school. And so you got an A in class and you hope no one would notice, you're the smartest kid in school, and it makes you self-conscious. And then obviously a Motley Crue reference, and your loser boyfriend smoking out in the boys' room. We like to throw those in, Daniel. We really like it. And, but yeah, so then we go through the chorus. Everybody's got their scars, but no matter what they tell you, you're beautiful the way you are. There's a pressure sometimes, I think, that comes on teenage kids, especially, to go and do the things that their parents did. And it's a big thing here in America where, your dad wants you to play football and your mom wants you to be a cheerleader. And so this next line was, that where your mom's happy that you came a cheerleader, homecoming queen, just like your older sister, but then you dyed your hair pink. They're like, what are you doing? Like, you're becoming your own person. We don't like that. And, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole song. I mean, as far as, it's a very simply written song. It's one of those that, just happened. I'll never forget. I was sitting there. My daughter was 1 at the time when I wrote this, and was just, crawling around on the floor, and I had an acoustic guitar, and I belted this one out. And, one of my favorites that I've ever written, and definitely a fan favorite for sure.
Absolutely. It was Life After Lisa was the other Butch track on that.
Got it. That's right. No. Okay, thank you for
that. Next, final segment before we do Q&A is what's Jarrett listening to right now?
I have found myself going back. I did a thing where I went back and listened to all the Green Day records really recently, and that's a fun thing to do when you've liked a band for 30 years, and you can go back and, oh yeah, man, I haven't heard that song in a really long time. And then what I found interesting is that, when you listen to albums over and over and over and over again, you start to hear the next song before it comes on. And I found myself getting mixed up, where I would just be like, wait a minute, I didn't think that was next. What is going on here? I went, but I found myself in a little bit of a nostalgic phase, going back and listening to what I was listening to in like 2013, 2014, which is The Main a lot. A band from here actually called Artist versus Poet. If you never got into that band, go check them out. Their first record is so good. It's just nutty how good it is. It's not even fair. And I just produced a band from Wichita Falls, my hometown, called Throttle Body. They're just a straight up rock band. I have had to listen to that a lot for work. And man, I thought there was something else that I was listening to that I was excited to say, because I was just like, wait a minute, I'm going to actually get to say this on the thing. And now I can't. I will tell you this. I don't know if I've put this out there in the world yet, but I'm sure I have. I have my kids in the car a lot, so a lot of times I have to listen to what my kids listen to. And fucking, man, Post Malone has got it figured out. That dude, like, he's great. That dude's awesome. It's just all good. All of it.
What do you think about the track with Ozzy?
Oh, it's fucking great. Yeah, and I
Right.
hadn't even heard of that or whatever, but I thought it was great. And that kid's from here too. He's from just over in South Lake, so not far from here. So yeah, and then the boys have been going through an Eminem phase that it pops up once a year. That's all they want to listen to is Eminem. So we've been listening to a lot of Eminem, and then yeah, I've been just very nostalgic in what it is I'm listening to recently.
Awesome. Well, we'll move on to Q&A, but I want to ask first, is there a spot in Green Day's discography when you're going through it where you just taper off and don't listen to anything after a certain year?
Yeah, I don't go really past American Idiot. And that's just I just never, I mean, by then, I was so busy, and I mean, I'd hear some stuff that was on the radio or whatever, but yeah, I'm certain that I would like it, but I haven't listened to really any records after that. I mean, just from my age and my exposure to those guys, obviously I'm going to like the first 6 albums the best, because that's, I was still listening to that when they were coming out and stuff. Now, I do have my Green Day story where I wrote this for some magazine, and it's I wrote an article called Green Day Disease, and it's basically what I call what happens to you when a band gets popular, so you decide you don't like them anymore because everybody else does. Now, I don't think that happens as much in your country as it does here, because our music is so cliquish here. We don't really have the thing where people listen to it. It's diversified a lot, but still people kind of stick with what they know.
I think it happens when you're in high school.
Yeah.
But past that, I don't think so.
Yeah, but so anyway, Green Day Disease is happened to me, and that's why I called it that. But so I was listening to Green Day obviously before they got big, and going to see them and shit, and then Dookie came out, and all of a sudden people that I thought of as douchebags at the time started liking them, and there's this weird odd resentment that happens where you're I think it happened to us. I really do. I think that once we were on the radio, I think there was a backlash of people that were like, oh, now they're on the fucking radio, blah, blah, blah. And it's so stupid. And I regret it so much because I missed the Insomniac record. Like, I just didn't give that one. I was like, fuck 'em. Right. Like, I'm out. And that record is so good. And I'll just go back and listen to that record. And it just, that's my reminder of any time I start to think, oh shit, they're getting popular, I'm not gonna like them anymore. It's what, it's okay to like things that other people like. Like there for a time there was an underground group of people who liked pizza, and then once everybody discovered it, they weren't like, you know what, we're not gonna fucking eat this anymore. And you know what, maybe they were, maybe that's where calzones came from, but guess what, it's just folded over pizza. That's all pop punk is. Folded over Green Day. That's it.
It was the Ninja Turtles. That was the underground pizza fans.
Okay, literally. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I think that happens even more with when you've not yet listened to a band at all, or watched a movie or a TV show or whatever. If the person who tells you, oh, you're really going to love this, if you're like, well, you're a dick, so yeah. I'm not gonna. If you like it, I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah,
I do that a lot.
Yeah, that's Gary and I just talked about that actually on the Rockstar Dad show, about how that happens with people. Like, you'll be like, you just meet somebody and you're like, man, I think I could be friends with that guy, and then one of your friends is like, I don't know, that guy's kind of a dick. Then you just instantly are like, oh well, I guess the guy's a dick, And it's like people are just different people, and that's happened to me a couple of times recently, professionally, where I start to get to know someone and I take a meeting and I'm like, I come away with, man, that guy's great. And then I hear, oh yeah, I don't like that guy because of this and this. So I've just stopped listening to that. Now I form my own opinion. And you know what? If group A doesn't mix with group B, it's like mixing family and neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, when your neighbors come over, you feel a certain way, you're drinking, everything's great. Your family comes over, whatever, this is the way to... But when you mix those two groups, everybody wonders how the fuck you can stand the other group. And
that's so true.
Yeah, it is. It's like, don't mix friend groups. You can mix certain friend groups, but you really need a checklist to make sure, okay, before I mix these two friend groups. It's like the time I tried to introduce Zach Malloy to Linus of Hollywood, not joking, and within 2 hours, they were about to get in a fist fight on the streets of Los Angeles, California. And I was just like, okay, never again. Never again.
Yeah. You have to referee. You have to find common ground before you introduce them.
Yeah.
Say, did you know that he loves this? And that's how you did.
You're right. I didn't do that. I was too caught up in just thinking, hey, we're all three cool dudes. You guys have me in common. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not meaning that to be the normal Jarrett, like I'm famous thing. I literally mean like, hey, I'm really close friends with you. I'm really close friends with you. Why wouldn't you guys get along? No, like oil and fucking water, man.
That's so funny because on my podcast, Hangover You Don't Deserve, me and Sophie were just talking about someone in some death metal band that from the 80s that she really likes, who's from Liverpool and drinks in her local bar and is a Bowling for Soup fan. And she's like, I really want to introduce him to Jarrett. And I was like, but why? What is that for? She's like, I don't know, just so because I know them both. Like, I don't think that means they'd be friends.
She looks great, by the way. I saw a picture of her the other day. Her shirt matched her hair, and she looks awesome.
Right. Well,
I'm not supposed to tell you that because you're her best friend, and you guys say like shit about each other. But anyway, I think she looks good.
Oh no. It wasn't even that. It was just the shirt matching the hair thing. I'm like, well, if that's all it takes, I'll figure that one out.
Oh no, she just looked really good. She just looked nice. It was nice to see her.
I think you're wasting your time. I don't know if she listens to this. Let's move on.
Okay, I'll edit that out then.
So as always, we've taken questions from the fan page, and the first one is from Eloise Skellett, who asks, "What's the most embarrassing thing you've done out in public?"
Out in public. Well, goodness gracious, that's a tough one. I mean, aside from like the normal like pee your pants kind of thing, embarrassing. Here's the problem, and you could probably attest to this, Daniel. I don't really embarrass easily if there's an audience.
Nope.
I just don't. Like things that would happen to normal people if there's people watching or whatever, I've always just had the ability to turn that into my favor. Now, to embarrass me, you would have to be in a small group of people and find like the one thing that, that you could sort of harp on. And it's possible, but man, I will say that in a crowd of people or in public, it's pretty hard. I mean, one time a guy spit in my hair when I was a little kid, and it was a loogie, and I was real embarrassed, and he was like a bully, and I, that was one of those things where you don't really know what to do because it's not like you're going to fight the guy, and then you've got a loogie in your hair, and that was really embarrassing, but hard to think of things. I mean, my kids have embarrassed me before by, doing stupid shit, like Everett knocked over a fucking, like a street light at a club one time, like, but it was like a fake street light or whatever, like just knocked the thing over. That was kind of embarrassing, but yeah, I don't know. Me, myself, I don't really embarrass myself much.
No, I can definitely attest to that. Yeah, if you ever see Jarrett in public and he's peed his pants,
yeah, he
probably did it on purpose to make you laugh. So you're wasting your time.
Either that, or I'm gonna make you think I did.
Laura Baker says, "What's the most annoying thing that each of the band members do on tour?"
Chris leaves his spit cups laying around. It's really fucking gross. Mm-hmm. So he takes a water bottle and he spits his dip in there and he just leaves them around all over the place. That's super annoying. I've grown to live with it. It's funny because it bothers me more when it bothers other people. And since we have like a new crew guy here, we have a new bass player who it drives Rob absolutely crazy. Rob, I guess the thing, he's just never where he's supposed to be when it's time to be there. So like we'll be sitting around all fucking day long and he's there. And then it's like, okay, guys, let's go do VIP. And he's just gone. like, or he has to take a shit like as we're walking on stage. And I mean, it's not every once in a while, it's every single time. And apparently that's a thing. His brother told me that was a thing that he did when they were kids. Like, hold on, I gotta go pee or whatever. Like we will literally be sitting there talking like, okay, yeah, we got VIP in like 15 minutes. All right, 10 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever. And they're okay, let's go. Oh, hold on, let me go change my pants and I gotta go pee real quick or whatever. It's just like, what in the or he's just gone. It's like we've been looking for. He's been there all day, and all of a sudden we need him for something. And it's just like, where the fuck are you? You know? Oh, I went down the street to do this thing, whatever. That's pretty. It adds up. That starts to get to me after a while, and he's aware of it, so I know that it bothers him, that it bothers me. So I try not to harp on it all the time, but then sometimes I just can't fucking help it. I'm going to be completely honest, and I think you'll be able to attest to this too. I don't really think Gary does anything annoying. Like,
I was just thinking, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about Gary, because I could not think of what you were going to say. And I think for the most part, you guys probably gel the best on tour because you have the same like downtime hours.
Yeah.
You're both quiet at the same time,
yep.
and then you're both drunk at the same time, and
100%.
then it goes up.
Yeah, we're roommates as well. So we've been roommates since the start of us getting hotels, over 20 years ago. We both have kids. We both work, more normally than, Rob has a job outside the band, but he works at a club and he's like a marketer guy or whatever. It's again, responsibility wise, I think Gary and I are the same. We hang out a lot outside of the band. Obviously we have the Rockstar Dad show together. So I am certain that I do shit that annoys him, because I think everything I do is just exclamated by the fact that it's me, and I'm fucking, you know what I mean? Like I'm not again. I'm not trying to say that as like I'm not trying to be funny. It's just I don't know. Like I set my shit down and I talk about hey, I'm gonna set my shit down over here. You know what I mean? Like that's just But you're right. There's a time of day where I don't want to talk, and I don't really want to be spoken to because I'm fucking tired or whatever. And me and Gary are on the same plane. We wake up in the morning in our room or whatever, and we don't even say anything, and then one of us just goes and gets bottles of water, and then we, grab the other one's bag while the other one's taking a shit. It's just unspoken. But I really honestly can't think of anything he does that annoys me, which is crazy. But I will say this. Now, this is okay. I got one. He has gotten to where, like, after the shows, he doesn't like to go to bars anymore, and that annoys the shit out of me. And then he'll like pick a night to where I don't want to go to a bar, and he goes to the bar. So I just wish he'd get his shit together on that.
You've got to mean America only, because you don't like going to bars in the UK.
Not a lot, no. And you know why? Because, quite frankly, there's just not really much for me to drink there. Now that I'm drinking cider, I think I'll get better about it. And I have been better about it. That one day, we were at the bar literally all day. Remember? The Peaky Blinders thing? And...
Oh, I was. That was the day before the tour.
Oh,
so
shit, you weren't there.
I hadn't landed yet.
God damn it. Well... Get there early this time, Daniel. You never know what you're going to see.
I actually am. I'll meet you at the airport. That's where I've already scheduled. So,
attaboy.
I'm doing it this time. Steve Rice says, what are your thoughts on the Lounge Kittens ending their music career? Such a talented trio. Will you invite them to any of the Feb shows as guests?
Would love to have them anytime. Actually, I have a message sitting in my inbox from Zan that I haven't read because I've been doing this. I do stay in touch with Zan as much as I can. I just think they lived in the wrong place. I think if those girls lived in the US, or if someone would have brought them to the United States and just figured out that dynamic and gotten them out there and oh man, and I just think that it would have been fucking amazing. But I get it. I mean, I also understand. It's hard. You know, it really is. It's a hard thing, and it's hard to be. They're just so different, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I love them all dearly, and just wish them the best. And yes, I am hoping that they will come out for something that we got coming up.
I'm pretty sure I've spoken to Zan, and they are coming to one of the shows. So
that would be awesome.
Cody Collins asks if you could cast yourself in any existing movie, what would it be?
An existing movie, what would it be? God, that's a really good question, actually. Man, I think it'd be. I think I would have done really good, in the Jack Black character in School of Rock. I think my personality would have been good for that. I think if I did it now, though, I'd probably just do an impression of Jack Black doing it, so I probably wouldn't be like it.
And if you'd done that, Jack Black probably wouldn't exist.
Yeah, but man, I would have loved to have played Beetlejuice. You know, but and it'd be cool to be in like a serious movie too. But I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess I think School of Rock would have been fun. I would love to be in like you know who I'd like to play, like a minor character in a Ryan Reynolds movie. So, because I just want to hear that guy talk all the time. I fucking love him. Everything he says is funny. So, what's the superhero movie he does?
You want that? Deadpool.
Deadpool. I want to be like that bartender character in Deadpool, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah, you would just want him to make fun of you and be pretty in front
and
of
it'll
you.
be fucking hilarious.
Jacob Bowman says, is there a plan for releasing the hidden / bonus tracks / B-sides that are region locked?
You know what I need to do on that? That would not be as difficult as I probably think it would be. I'm just going to be completely honest and say that I just need someone to help me go, okay, so this came out on the Japanese version of this and this and this, and just like put it all in a spreadsheet. Because I get confused about it. I really do. Like, sometimes somebody will bring up a song and I'm like, I don't even remember releasing that. And they're like, oh yeah, it was on the German Walmart thing or whatever. So maybe
I'll do that. I'll do that this week.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Daniel's going to work on that. And I could probably put that out on a, probably just release it even on the digital stuff or whatever, the B-sides that, you know, shouldn't have been or something. But
in terms of like any that came out when you were with Jive still, will you be able to release them on an additional release?
They still own them. So, I mean, I think really, you know, especially as long as I'm not making money on it. So if I'm just putting them out digitally, I don't know. I'll figure it out. It might be something too where I can just get permission to do it.
Okay.
Because it's not like they care now. I mean, for those of you who don't know why B-sides used to exist, B-sides used to exist so that people in certain countries wouldn't buy the imported CD at a cheaper price. So we would put 2 songs on a UK CD so that you guys wouldn't pay less money to buy it American. Same with Japan. So they would get 2 exclusive things or whatever. So you want them to buy, you're basically trying to get people to buy that music in their region. And that's why B-sides even existed.
And for anyone who doesn't understand the term B-side, there used to be these things called records, and you turned them over to side B.
Right. Or a cassette single where you could just flip it around. Yeah.
No, I was never on board with cassettes.
Oh, okay.
They didn't do anything for the music industry.
What a weird thing, man. It's so weird to even think that because that was my whole life, you know? Like, I mean, really, that's...
See, I grew up in a weird section where my mum still had a record player and listened to vinyl, and CDs came out when I was just about old enough to buy music. So I just skipped cassettes. The first ever single I bought was a cassette. After that, CDs.
Interesting.
Kimberly Case says, what is your favorite song to play on tour, and does it change depending on where you play?
It does change, but not depending on where I play. Sometimes it's just a mood. It's funny because Somebody asked me this the other day. I did a thing on Instagram. I did like a Q&A on my story, and I put Girl the Bad Guys Want. And that one really does remain my favorite. But I guess I had said Almost at some point, and Rod on James, my Jiminy Cricket, called me out on that. I really like to play Friends of Mine, and I really like to play Girl the Bad Guys Want. Any of the hits is really fun, but I will say there's just something about playing that riff and Girl the Bad Guys Want, and when everybody just instantly 3 notes in realizes what it is, it's just that's the reason why I'm bored 22 hours a day, is because I want that.
Dave Wiggy Marlowe asks, when will Heartache and Hilarity 3 happen?
Dave Wiggy Marlowe, you have stumbled upon something that all I can say is you will be stoked about very soon. Maybe not as soon as you think, but I am working on it. I am working on it as we speak.
David Thiem, I think, I'm sorry, David, if I pronounced your name wrong, says, what's your favorite Robbie Williams song?
Oh, that the Angels thing where his grandma he I'm loving angels instead. I actually saw him play that song one time in New York, and he goes and it was so British because it was a charity thing. It was fucking packed. Public Enemy and Robbie Williams and just all these crazy acts or whatever. It's so stupid that I was even in town for this. Like, it's not, I didn't go for that. It was just happening across town, and so I got invited. And anyway, I didn't know anything about him at all, and he just fucking slayed. I mean, that dude is an entertainer, and he can sing. And anyway, he started to talk about that song, and he goes, yeah, I mean, this is a song. I wrote this for my grandmother, and he goes, and this and this and this, and it's just someone that is just always on my mind. I mean, she's not dead, and it was just so English, and I was like, I'm the only one in here that gets that joke, felt really good. But yeah, that song is freaking crazy. But I do love Robbie Williams. I've got I have his music on my in my cloud.
On that English humor thing, I've been meaning to say to you, I think that on your other podcast, Jared Goes to the Movies, I think your co-host Eric, his humor is probably the closest I've ever heard an American get to English humor. So fucking dry. And you don't know he's made a joke, ever.
Right. And so I'm glad you said that. You should message him and tell him, because he's real sensitive about it. He thinks that, like, he's disrupting the show. And I'm like, it's those underlying jokes that keep people listening to shit. They don't.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's listening to it and knowing that you haven't got the joke and you will later. That's the greatest thing about it.
Yeah, and that's exactly. No, I love, and see, that's what's funny. I love that too. I love that aspect of it. Of just like, I'll be 3 sentences down the way and then get the joke, and then I'll go back to it or whatever, and then he's already moved on to something else.
Yeah. Which songs? Oh, sorry. Nathan Talbot asks, which songs never quite make it into your gig set lists, but you wish you could squeeze in?
We talk about that a lot. So when you have as many albums as we do, and then here's the Jarrett being Jarrett, but we have a lot of hits. And it really is, honestly, like making the set list for this next tour. And we do have to have a set list because we are bringing, the production is going to be unlike anything you've ever seen Bowling for Soup do. You guys want to see this tour. Trust me. Even if you're on the fence, come see this tour. But it's really hard because it's like, okay, here are the songs we have to play. And even to mark through a couple of those to get other songs in, there's only a certain amount of time. It's very difficult. So there are songs that I like. Sucker Punch is one. We love playing that song live, but it's like, what do you lose? Like that song's so old, and do people even know it? And this and this and this. So, again, when we play When We Die, I wish we would have played Turbulence. When we play Turbulence, I wish we would have played When We Die, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's so many songs that we've never even gotten to play as a band. I mean, the way that recording works, and especially these days, I go in, I show Gary the song, he plays the drums, and that is the last time he ever plays it. And that is the majority of our songs.
I think that's what makes it worth seeing any band, you guys on the tour after you release an album, because that may be the only time you ever hear a song from that album, ever.
Very true. Yep.
Ellis Kennedy asks, what's the worst gig you've ever done and why?
A couple of those, but it's hard not to go back to Folkestone. Isn't that right? That's the name of the place, right? Folkestone, where they threw the pea at us.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that.
Is that a city there?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got it right. Folkestone. I don't know what it was. It was a sold out show, but just a bunch of kids in the middle, just raising hell and no security, and they were pissing in bottles and throwing piss at us. I got hit in the face with the Doc Martin. It was a rough one. Definitely one of those that I think back to, and very glad that I'll never play there again.
Getting hit in the face with a Doc Martin is probably a punk rite of passage,
I definitely I definitely think, yeah. I mean, I definitely can tell that story and I've also I bit through my lip hitting with somebody's head hitting me in a mosh pit, and I was the singer of the band, and I got a bunch of those injuries like that. I'm going to be honest, the Doc Martin to the face hurt, but the cell phone to the bridge of the nose in Bristol was, that actually almost took me out. I almost full on went down after that.
Yeah, that was horrible. We'll finish with some quick fire in the last couple of minutes. We've got Osvaldo Castillo asks, pizza or burgers?
Okay, one more time. Go.
Osvaldo Castillo asks, pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Michelle Moran asks, favorite drink?
Miller Lite.
Wendy Victoria asks, favorite Avengers character?
Okay, so let me just clarify, though, because I'm not a comic book guy. Spider-Man is not an Avenger.
Oh man, you're asking the wrong guy.
Okay, so all right, it would be Spider-Man if he were, but see, the problem is they put them in these movies and they're not really those guys. But the ones on the movies, I gotta go with, I'll go with Ant-Man.
Jesus Christ.
Is he not one either?
I think so, but Jesus, what a fucking terrible movie. I was just remembering, you remember when you did that on Jared Goes to the Movies? That was the show where I hated the movie so much I did a shot every question you asked me. Because of how terrible that movie was.
I forgot.
Last question, Geraldine Darling asks, what are you currently reading? And if you don't get time to read, what TV show are you watching?
I am actually reading 3 books at the same time right now, which is insane. I get that. I am reading Unfuck Yourself, Get Shit Done, and I can't really get through them all at one time because I'm having to sort of dissect what I want to get out of each one because they don't really apply to me in that I'm a particularly motivated person that just wants to get more organized and motivated. So when you get a book that is for people who aren't fucking motivated, I hope this is making sense. Anyway, it just sometimes I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I know. Get to fucking fix me. What?
You open a book and it's like, why don't you get a hobby? And you're like, Jesus fuck, I have 17 jobs.
But I will say this: I just finished "I'll Be Gone in the Dark" by Michelle McNamara, and a lot of people read it right after she passed away. It's Patton Oswalt's deceased wife, and she wrote this about the East Area rapist who she coined the Golden State Killer. It is fascinating, and what's cool about it is if you're a Patton Oswalt fan, you really get an emotional sort of look into what his life was like while she was writing all this, and she didn't get sick. She just died of a odd heart thing that happened. And so it's really, really cool, and how, she was on the trail of this fucking guy. And then soon after she passed away, they actually caught the guy. And so they get into that. But anyway, that's my reading.
Yeah. That story is crazy. I listened to a true crime podcast about that, and they've basically said that without her book, they may never have caught him, which is, insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The police and the FBI, or at least the police, the FBI, of course, they don't say anything, but the police say that that it wasn't instrumental in catching him, but that it kept it in the public eye and blah blah blah. But man, I don't know. She definitely shook some shit up that needed to be shooken, and So anyway, if you're into true crime, I'm seriously, you should read it, because it's fucking fascinating, and also just the way that she writes. About the time you get like caught up in the criminal stuff, she'll switch and start talking about herself or whatever, just enough to kind of keep you reeled in.
And in that same vein, go and check out Patton Oswalt and all of his stand-up specials, because that guy's one of my favorite comedians ever.
He's one of the best.
This has been episode 12. This has been real fun. Thanks for listening, guys. Please go and join the Bowling Soup fan page if you're not already a member. Look out for any posts. I usually put podcast alert or something like that in it, so you'll find it. That's when I'm asking you guys for contributions to the show. That's how you get involved. Get a question read out or vote on what songs or videos you want to hear about. Anything to plug, Jarrett?
No, just all the usual stuff. JARET2113 everywhere. Follow BFS everywhere. I would like to thank Sean Kennedy, who has been doing our social media for the last few months, and he's killing it. And, of course, Fiona from the fan page, thank you for all you do. All of our new members, thanks for being here. And, dude, thank you, Daniel.
Thanks. Well, I'm Daniel Cotton from Twitter. You can find me by searching that on Google. I need to make mine more succinct like you and have one username everywhere, but I don't. When Bone Soup go on tour in February, in 3 weeks, I think, I will be doing a blog. I'll be trying to do a blog every day. danielcottonontour.wordpress.com, and find me on Twitter at Daniel Cotton, and listen to my new podcast, Hangover You Don't Deserve Podcast, everywhere you listen to podcasts. And my new YouTube channel is called Cover Songs and Other Songs. Go check that out.
Yeah, actually, if I could say, watching you do the covers has been great. I mean, in all seriousness, I know we fuck with each other a bunch, but I've known you since you were a little kid, and you've been working for me now most of your adult life, and it's fun to see you making music. It's a side of you that I just don't see. I'm not exposed to that, so it's been really cool. So yeah, y'all go check out Daniel's YouTube thing and encourage him to do more, and tell him some songs to do.
Yes, please do. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Take care.
Y'all be
Bye.
good.
It's the BFS Fan Page Rampage, the BFS Fan Page Rampage with Jared Reddick and Daniel Cat.